We are back at 8:14 with some health news. Recreational marijuana is legal in 19 states and Washington, D.C. for adults who are at least 21 years old. But a local expert says that legalization is making it easier for young teenagers to get their hands on the drugs and says that that's dangerous because of the health issues it can cause. So we've got Eric Gremminger with us this morning. He is the co-founder and CEO of the national recovery platform, ERPHealth. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, glad to have you here. So before we dive into those health issues, obviously, explain why you think legalizing marijuana for people who are older than 21 could actually have implications for teenagers and younger people than 21.
Well, I think the term legalization kind of implies maybe that it's okay, right? So what a young person might look at is, all right, well, it's legal for this age and up. So eventually I'll be that age. Maybe I could start dabbling with it now,
right.
And that could lead to a whole host of issues. So I think the term legalization can inadvertently imply to a young person that it's okay.
That early exposure is what
early
you're saying.
exposure,
okay,
yes.
Got it.
And Eric, you help those in recovery every day. So what are some of the health issues you're aware of that marijuana can cause in young people?
Well, your brain is developing up until the age of 25, and it's making very important neural connections in the prefrontal cortex. So this is the executive functioning area, the area related to impulse control, self-regulation, good decision making. So interfering with that process with high potency marijuana can have very negative long-term implications for individuals as they mature into adulthood.
Yeah, and you're saying this because obviously just the product of marijuana has changed so much in years and decades, and it's not the same marijuana that so many people smoked decades ago. Explain that. How has it changed?
The potency. So
okay.
That's really been the biggest change. So some experts say it's up to 90% stronger than it was 25 years ago, but also the way that it's packaged. So you're seeing it in edible forms, gummies, chocolates, right?
Yeah.
Packaging in ways that would be enticing for a young person
Sure.
to reach out and try. So we want to be very cognizant of potency and packaging.
Right.
And what are some signs for parents that they could pay attention to if they are seeing different behaviors in their teenager, or maybe even mental health issues, which I know I've done a story with you before. We know that that can lead to substance abuse. So what are some things to be aware of?
Sure. So I would say identify isolation. If you notice that they're aloof, that they're not as engaging as they typically are, that would be one sign. But depression, anxiety, we're noticing these symptoms are a byproduct of using marijuana at an early age. And that's what our technology, ERPHealth, really specializes in, is making sure when people seek treatment that we're identifying, these are called comorbidities. So you might have an addiction to marijuana, but also depression and anxiety. And we need to make sure that if someone's getting treatment, that's being addressed concurrently.
Yeah. And explain a little bit more about those treatment options, because obviously you can get to a point now where you realize, all right, my child needs some help. What are our options?
So there's a variety of options. I mean, there's more pathways to recovery than there ever has been before. The important thing is getting them started early in the recovery process, sure. And ensuring that wherever they seek treatment, that they're offering individualized, personalized care. Right? We see a lot of these cookie cutter programs, and it's really not effective. We have to personalize the process, but we also, and this is very important for treatment centers, there's a lot of great ones locally, measure your outcomes. So if you're a parent looking for care, you should be able to go to that treatment center and say, how well are you performing as it relates to outcomes with people who are coming under your care? And the treatment center should be willing to be transparent with those outcomes.
And Eric, you've got an event coming up. Tomorrow is Overdose Awareness Day. So tell us about your event.
Yeah, August 31st. So I'm the MC, Burlington County Amphitheater. It's really a night to bring awareness to overdose, but also to spread some hope and let people know that recovery is possible. So if you're struggling, never, ever, ever give up.
And I know that's part of your story.
Right.
Yeah.
You can certainly relate to this entire issue. And so where can people go to get more information about what you do personally, and maybe some of these options and ways to kind of just stay connected to make sure that either themselves or family members or people that they care about, they can kind of stay in control of this situation?
So ERPHealth.com would be a really great resource to identify what is individualized care, who is measuring outcomes locally, But it would also be good to go to ericgremminger.com, where you can learn about a book that I wrote about reclaiming the brain and some of the neurological functioning as it relates to drugs and alcohol.
And your event tomorrow, Eric, what time does it start?
7 p.m.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Eric, we certainly appreciate your time here. A lot of insight.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
being here.
much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.